I study, I read about the places I write about, but I visit also. The visit isn't everything, but of course there are a lot of day-to-day things that I have seen in my 4 visits to Iran. And of course, at the same time, in the 6 years that I've been visiting Iran, I would say that the Western media image of Iran has got worse. Because the level of censorship, the level of blocking of websites, you know, they destroyed quite a number of websites, not just Iranian websites, websites they said were associated with or funded by Iran. They have kicked Iranian media out of YouTube and out of other US social media. So the result, and of course that now applies to Russia, it applies to Venezuela, it applies to Cuba. They put brand names on various types of state media except for the British and the North Americans. So that whole, if you like, development of censorship in the Western mind has got much worse. And so the media phenomena about Iran now are huge because the US has this obsession with Iran in this part of the world. The US and its colony in Palestine, of course. They have this obsession because Iran precisely is the largest independent state and is supporting all of the other independent states and peoples in the region. So I would say the disinformation about Iran and really the Mahsa Amini phenomenon, if you like, and it was a phenomenon because we're talking hundreds of millions of tweets about a young woman who clearly died of some medical conditions. The amount of tweets were many, many times greater than all of the social media about all of the African-American young men killed in public in the US. So the extent of the effort they're putting into this distortion is really massive. And I remember, for example, back at the time of the murder of Qasem Soleimani, a great purge on US social media began. I lost my Facebook account in 2020, for example, because of posts sympathetic about the funeral, sympathetic with Qasem Soleimani, posting his daughter, speech of his daughter. So really there was a concerted effort to wind back the access to that very large, the largest of all US social media at that time. So they tried to, for example, hide at that time the number of people attending the funerals in Iraq and Iran, but it was too big, they couldn't really hide it. But similarly, in the 3 years since then, you could cite a number of media incidents where the Western media really has very little to do. You can't say nothing to do with the reality of Iran. It could be 10 or 20% to do with the reality in Iran. But you know, there's half-truths are very dangerous things, and 10% truths are even more dangerous things. And that's the problem with the Western media. Really, it is pumped out at such a massive level, really to disempower Western people, so that they think, oh, they look at Iran and they think, oh, hijab, headscarf, that's all they think of, because this idea is pumped at them. And they have no idea of the context, they have no idea what's going on. They have no idea, for example, how the education of boys and girls has increased since the revolution in Iran. Gone up 5 times from an average of about 2 years each in school in 1979 to more than 10 years each now. They don't know any of these sorts of things, even though they're published in independent media. Even some universities in the US, I believe it's University of Maryland and another group, I think, in North America, have done opinion polls on Iranian people's trust in their government. It's twice as high as the trust in the government in the US. But this is not what you see in the US media. It's available, but you have to hunt it out. If you're a researcher, you can find these things. But the average person, tremendous disinformation, tremendous distortion of what's going on here.
That's great. Well,